Hey folks, it's Ray at Rainmaker.com, and today I've got a quick tips video on the new Suunto and TrainingPeaks integration. This is the first time we've seen structured workout integration, structured workout support on a Suunto watch, which is kind of crazy. Now for years, Suunto has allowed you to upload into TrainingPeaks, but they've never actually pulled down your structured workouts from TrainingPeaks into the watch itself that you can go and execute out on the road. But now you can. Suunto has also rolled out today, and this is what kind of drives this entire thing, what are called SuuntoPlus Guides. So SuuntoPlus apps have been around for a year or two, and they're kind of like very basic apps that Suunto has largely created with a couple different partners. But SuuntoPlus Guides are a little more simplified in a way, but easier for third-party companies to develop. And they basically take kind of instructions, if you will, from a server that are uploaded to a file and then pushed down to your watch. And this is how TrainingPeaks and Suunto have created this new structured workout app that makes it really easy to run through all of your structured workouts. So the first thing to get rolling here is you need to simply update your Suunto app on your phone first, get that updated. Then once that's done, go back into it and update your watch. You can force that along a little bit if you go into the settings options on the Suunto app. So it checks for that firmware update for your watch and starts copying it over using Bluetooth to the watch itself. And then from there, you can go into the watch menus, up to the settings, and then down into the firmware update option to force that firmware update right away. Once that's all set, then go ahead and reauthorize your TrainingPeaks app. This is really important. If you do not reauthorize your TrainingPeaks app within the Suunto app, it won't work. It should prompt you to do this, by the way. So you shouldn't like have to go off searching for this. It should just prompt you in the app to say, yo, need to do the reauth, and then you're good to go. At that point, it'll automatically start pushing down any structural workouts that you have planned to the Suunto app. Like a TrainingPeaks plan, for example, that'll get pushed in there, as well as any one-off workouts that you created. So for today, I went ahead and created a single one-off workout, lazy Monday intervals, a bunch of 4x800 stuff, kind of warm up and cool down. And I created it on TrainingPeaks, and then within just a second, literally like 1 second, it pushes it into the Suunto app. Then I'll go ahead and I'll sync it to the watch itself, and then you can start executing those workouts. So in my case, because I created a run workout, I just simply go into the run sport profile on my watch, and immediately it'll ask me, do I want to do today's workout? And that's because it knows that today's workout is today's workout. It just knows the date and the time and what today is, and it says, yo, do today's workout. If I choose yes, you'll see it'll show up at the bottom there as a list of lazy Monday intervals that I'm ready to go with that particular workout. Now, if I wanted to choose something else, I can say no to that, and I go down into the SuuntoPlus Guides and choose a different guide. So that could be a different interval workout, it could be a different workout from some other thing entirely. It could be one from Suunto or another platform. That's all an option within the SuuntoPlus Guides that are listed there. After all that's done, I'll go ahead and simply hit start on my watch itself. Now, once I've got the watch going, it'll go ahead and it'll show me a notification page. Basically, what my first step is here in my TrainingPeaks workout. And then once that disappears a couple seconds later, it shows me my current interval in the progress towards the targets that I have. So this is the warm-up one right there. So you can see I've got a 1600 meter warm-up. At the bottom, it's counting down to the end of that 1600 meters. And then once that's done, it'll give me my first core interval, my first main interval there, 800 meters. And it simply iterates its way through these one after another. Now using that out on the road here, it works pretty well. I can go ahead and I get the notification on my wrist itself. I can see that pretty clearly, execute that, and go on to the next step. Okay, a couple quick thoughts here as I'm halfway through this interval workout. Overall, it's working just fine. It allows me to count down as I'm going through each interval, show me that distance remaining, because that's the main metric I set, and it shows me my heart rate targets on how I'm doing against that. My only criticism, it doesn't show me the number of intervals I'm in. So it doesn't say interval 2 of 4, 3 of 4, etc., which is a little bit of a bummer. I wish it showed that, but maybe that's something I can add down the road through some minor tweaks and coding. The other minor thing it doesn't do is it doesn't do like a countdown as you approach each interval change. Most of the watches will like give you a warning about 10 seconds out or 5 seconds out and then beep its way down to 0. This one is just like, boom, let's go. And it's not a huge deal, but again, just the minor differences between something like this and a lot of the other implementations out there. But to go from where Suunto was, which was nothing, to having this is a huge leap forward, and that's a good thing. Now, once I'm done with the workout, it'll basically just wrap up as is. And there's no additional pages in the workout summary. That workout summary page is identical to any other workout you would do in non-structured, meaning it just shows the same information there. However, once I sync my watch with the Suunto app, it pushes that back up to TrainingPeaks, and it merges the planned workout with the executed workout together, and you can do analytics on whether or not you hit the targets that you had signed for that particular workout. And at that point, it's essentially the same whether you execute it on the Suunto watch or Garmin watch or any other watch out there. It all just kind of works. Still, I think if I look at the overall spectrum of structured workout watch companies, if you will. So, you know, if you talk about Garmin and Wahoo and Polar and Coros, kind of at one end, and something like Fitbit or Apple's at the other end there, this sort of sits in the middle there, meaning those on this side have more detail during the workout itself, like I talked about, you know, interval number X of Y. They show you more details around the targets, for example, what's upcoming, all that kind of information is there. And Suunto is not bad. Again, I had no problems going and executing this workout all on the road today, but I just didn't have as much context about the greater scheme of the workout that I would with some of those other platforms. Versus the other end, if I look at something like Fitbit and Apple and others there, those are more basic and they're not really targeting the endurance sport athlete. So I'm not going to get things like structured power workouts like I am with Suunto, or I'm not going to get things like cadence targets and stuff like that you do get with all the other, watch vendors I already mentioned, but this definitely sits in that middle there, which is not a bad first attempt. You got to keep in mind, this is the very first time we've seen structured workouts on a Suunto watch, which is kind of insane. Like, you had Suunto apps way back at the beginning when Suunto was the very first company to have an app store, even before Apple and Garmin, and even before Pebble. Pebble announced it first, but Suunto was actually the first one to do it. And then Suunto eventually abandoned their app store. But even in that scenario, way back when, there was no way to pull those from a third-party platform. They were all designed like on a given watch app itself, and you couldn't pull them from TrainingPeaks or something like that. So it is awesome to see Suunto get back to the roots around the app store concept. And this, I think, is certainly the first of hopefully many steps towards that, and so kudos to them for getting this. And as a first implementation, it is totally functional, totally usable, and a huge step for Suunto athletes that want to go ahead and use structural workouts from TrainingPeaks. Anyways, if you found this video interesting and useful, whack that like button at the bottom there, or subscribe or something like that. There is plenty more sports technology goodness. This is going to get busy over the course of spring, and as usual, you don't want to miss any of that goodness. With that, have a good one.